Okay, so I've shared the news that Swarovski is no longer going to sell to the retail DIY market. We're all taking a deep breath now, right? We're gonna move forward. Preciosa is gonna be a great brand for us to work with. That's what I'm gonna carry at Jill Wiseman Designs. I also have I have a little secret that might be coming with another crystal lineup. It's gonna be interesting, but you have to wait for that info yet. But I'm here for you. I'm working it for you guys, okay? I wanted to show you why I'm no longer completely freaked out about Swarovski's announcement. And I was seriously freaked out, y'all. For days, my tummy hurt and I was just in a panic because it just affected kits and it affected, some of the videos that I've done and my classes that I go around and teach. And it's not just me, there's so many people in the bead world who make their business off Swarovski crystal, right? So I was worried for them. But what happened was I got my first order of Preciosa crystal in. Now, I have dabbled with Preciosa crystals in the past. I have not gone deep into them because at the time I was having trouble finding a vendor in the US that could give me a good selection of colors and one that was consistent. Like I would go to reorder something, because I did carry them for a little while. I go to reorder a color and I could no longer get that color, but now I can get this color. And I'm like, well, I need some consistency here. I'm running an online bead store. So I ended up discontinuing the Preciosa brand. This was a couple years ago. So now I'm bringing them back in, and the first line that I brought in was all of the plain colors, so none of the AB or specialty stuff, in 4mm Bicones. And when those came in, I took a deep breath of relief because I think that the quality has improved over the last couple of years. Technology is always improving, and these are they're made in factories with precision equipment and that kind of thing. So as technology gets better, then our beads get better too. So I'm very pleased with the quality of them. In terms of sparkle, I'm seeing no difference between the Swarovski and the Preciosa. There are some minor color variations. The precision cut, slightly less on the Preciosa, but really not by much. You'd truly have to be looking for it to see it. Let's put it that way. Your average user is not gonna even notice it. The only time I really notice it is when I'm looking specifically for it, and B, I'm using some kind of magnification to see it. So I don't think that you're gonna notice it in your jewelry at all. I don't think you're gonna notice a difference. In the past, one of the things that I have not liked about Preciosa is I felt like on the Bicones is I felt like that girdle along the center there was a little bit sharper than it was on the Swarovski. I'm not feeling that anymore. So they must have improved that technology because they feel identical to me. So let me bring you in a little bit closer. I've got kind of an assortment here where we're going to do side-by-side comparisons of some of the well-known Swarovski colors and some of the Preciosa equivalents. Now this is just a beginning selection. Obviously what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna do a video when I have all of the lineup, and we're gonna do a direct comparison of all the colors. But I just wanted to show you these three because I think it's really striking. So here's the Capri Blue. And if you look at these, you really cannot tell a difference at all. As a matter of fact, I accidentally dropped these two beads. I knew which one was the Swarovski and which was the Preciosa, and then I dropped them, and now I am having trouble telling which one is which. Let me add one more Preciosa here on the end and see if I can tell. I think that this might be the Preciosa because it looks like it may be, can you see that it maybe is just the tiniest shade darker here. But again, that is such a small difference The cut looks basically identical. The faceting looks basically identical. The holes look just as good. Let me see if I can. I don't know that you're going to be able to see this. Let's see if I can hold these. So the holes look just as good on both sides. So honestly, I think right here, you're talking about a direct compare, completely direct. Like at this point, I do not know which are which. So I'm gonna have to put these in my personal stash because I can't sell them to tell you which is which. So, I mean, isn't that fabulous though that I cannot tell the difference? One of the things I'm doing here is, let me get another needle. This is the perfect way to kind of evaluate so that you can hold them. Run my finger across the edge here, that girdle that I was talking about. They are identical with that. Now here's the one thing that I have found so far, and this may be a normal anomaly. I found that I think that the Preciosa in general tend to be like 1/10 of a millimeter smaller. Now what that means for your bead work, yeah, so the first one was measured at 4.19 and that was the Preciosa, and this one is measuring at 4.39 and that's the Swarovski. So there is going to be a minute difference in sizing in these. I thought that I had eyeballed that with another color. With this Capri Blue, I couldn't really visually see the size difference, but the calipers tells the tale. So just as an FYI, that may come into play in some of our designs. It's an awfully small difference, but when you multiply it by a large magnitude, it could become more of an issue. Okay, so let's move on to this, because this at the top is purple velvet, the deepest purple that they have. This at the bottom is Preciosa, and they are calling it deep tanzanite. So that you can see that we're going to have to get used to some different names. This deep tanzanite appears to be just a smidge lighter. Yep, you can see it. A smidge lighter than the purple velvet, which I kind of like because the purple velvet was always a little bit too dark for me. So if it comes up just a very tiny shade different, I'm cool with that. You know, if anything, well, it's kind of hard to say. I was going to say that the Preciosa might be sparkling a little bit more, but it might just be my angle. Okay, that was Swarovski. That's Preciosa. So let's move on to the regular tanzanite. Again, look at this. Basically no difference. Let me put one of each on a needle. Very minuscule, like barely noticeable color differentiation. Here, I think you can see that the Preciosa here is smaller than the Swarovski. So you can visually see it with this color, whereas with the darker colors, I couldn't see it quite as well. So it's, you know, one of those optical illusion things. Okay, and this is just a 4mm. I have not even gotten a chance to evaluate whether this is across the board with all the sizing. My guess is with the Bicones, it's going to be pretty across the board, but I can't speak to any other of the shapes because I think they make rounds. I mean, this is how crazy it is. I mean, it's just bananas. There's so much for me to learn about the Preciosa brand and what's available and what's not. But again, it's going to be a fluctuating situation because Preciosa knows that they need to step up now that Swarovski is bowing out. And so they are evaluating their entire product line, and they are bringing in lots of new colors and lots of new cuts. And so we're just going to have to see what develops over the next year or two. Here's what I wanted to show you. So these are turquoise Bicones from Preciosa. I've always absolutely loved the turquoise line the turquoise bead from Swarovski. But if you look at this, and I'm sorry that I don't have one to compare it to directly because I'm sold out actually. It's one of the ones that people bought really fast when they heard about Swarovski's news. This is definitely more of a green Swarovski, a green turquoise, than the Swarovski one is more of a blue turquoise. So there's a very different shade variation there. But like one of the other things is that there are some that we don't have in Swarovski. I really kind of like this. This is a very subtle color. It's called Crystal Honey. I think the thing that it's most similar to is probably light silk, or maybe silk, probably light silk. But so, you know, there's a whole range of colors that we haven't had with Swarovski. So we're just going to kind of have to hang tight and see how it all plays out. We're going to have new Preciosa pearls coming in, not for a couple of months yet because Preciosa is in the process of improving their pearls, so that's even great news. Some of their fancy stones, things like rivolis and shaped stones, some of the bigger ones, those they have limited production of now. But again, they know that all of a sudden Swarovski is leaving everybody high and dry, and so that those shapes may be coming in as Preciosa. Like, I can't imagine working at Preciosa right now. I think I was freaking out. Can you imagine when Preciosa found out this news from Swarovski? And basically Swarovski was like, here, let me just lay this entire industry on at your feet. And now Preciosa is trying to figure out how they're going to take on all of Swarovski's customers. So it's just bananas. So more side-by-side comparisons as I get more beads in. But like I said, I'm feeling good about this. I really am. So don't freak out. I got you back.